Jennifer Savage, Surfrider Foundation. First, thank you for ensuring that this item is being heard on the North Coast. The Eureka-Arcata Corridor Improvement Project will have a major effect on not just Eureka and Arcata, but on the surrounding cities, towns, and Humboldt County as a whole. We support making our roadways as safe as possible, of course, but some areas of Caltrans' proposed project are still in need of improvement. Planning for sea level rise is no small undertaking. I don't know what happened, the formatting is strange, apologies. But as a state agency, Caltrans could and should lead the way. Caltrans' own report notes that the section of highway from the Eureka Slough to the former California Redwood Company mill is projected to be inundated monthly by 2030. Commission staff's report states that with as little as 1.6 feet of sea level rise, significant portions of the highway corridor could be flooded by 2040, and further, water levels measured at the North Spit tide gauge already show that with just 0.7 feet of sea level rise, our king tides will result in water levels that had previously been declared a state of disaster on Humboldt Bay. So you saw this in the presentation earlier. And despite these projections, past flooding like this, and the Commission's 2013 conditions on the federal consistency certification, Caltrans wants to take an entire decade to develop a sea level rise plan unless the highway is flooded 4 times in a 12-month period, in which case Caltrans has 1 year to come up with an amending plan. But we shouldn't need to wait for dangerous flooding to respond to an emergency that we already know is underway. In 2005, for example, a storm combined with king tides led to flooding on 101 in the area near the proposed interchange. And when the highway is flooded, it's clearly unsafe. It puts motorists on 101 at risk, and by having to reroute along more rural roads, exponentially increasing risk elsewhere. The entire 101 corridor is in the 100-year flood zone and vulnerable to soil liquefaction, hazards which will worsen as sea level rises, especially during winter storms. Of the corridor projects, 5.86 miles, all but 0.24 are in state-retained jurisdiction. All of the land adjacent to the highway, except the 0.24-mile segment at Breakcut, is also in state-retained jurisdiction. Therefore, what happens in this stretch is very much up to the Commission and Caltrans. We strongly encourage both agencies to take advantage of this leadership opportunity, and instead of waiting for repeated flooding, start the 1-year planning for sea level rise adaptation now. Thank you.
Tom Wheeler with the Coalition for Responsible Transportation Priorities. I want to address 2 different things. First is billboards. I believe the Coastal Commission absolutely has the authority to impose as a condition of this project the removal of those last 4 billboards. These billboards are wholly within submerged, or 3 of the billboards are wholly within submerged wetlands on public easements and interfere with the coastal view area of the Humboldt Area Bay Plan. Caltrans has the jurisdiction to remove existing billboards, revoke permits. The Coalition asks that the Commission require as a condition of project approval the removal of billboards. Alternatively, if the Commission will not require the revocation of billboard permits, we ask the Commission hold open conditions of approval for the project until after the billboard permits expire on December 31st, 2019. Second, we are concerned with the impact of the 101 improvement project on the important Pacific Coast bicycle route. The route, which runs the entire length of California and really the West Coast, is an important coastal use and draws thousands of bicyclists to the coast annually. Humboldt Bay and the safety corridor at issue here is part of that route. It is one of my great joys to share our bay with touring bicyclists from around the world, as well as with local bicycle commuters. The Coalition is concerned about maintaining route access during the construction period. One of the suggested mitigations, Special Condition 19A, would require Caltrans to provide a shuttle for when the road is fully closed to bicyclists. And I think that this is an unworkable mitigation solution. I don't believe that any bicyclist would really ever take this shuttle. And so instead of this, I ask that either you could require that the road be fully open to bicyclists during the entirety of the construction process, or alternatively have the Bay Trail be completed prior to any construction that fully closes the road to bicycle users. All right, so in conclusion, between our organization, Surfrider Foundation, Baykeeper, we have the following asks for you. So better sea level rise planning, wetland mitigation, remove billboards, and protect the Bay Trail. Thank you so much.